If you heard the government passed a tracking rule for retirees and disabled people, you might be worried for the wrong reason. The real danger isn't a helicopter following you on vacation. It's a quiet benefit interruption you didn't see coming. And the wild part is, the change mostly hits one specific group, while everyone else gets spooked by headlines. If you get any kind of Social Security check, or you help someone who does, this is for you. Before we go any further, do you want a quick, calm shield against this kind of chaos showing up in your feed again? Hit subscribe so you stay ahead of policy changes, scams, and half-true rumors before they touch your money. Think of it like a smoke detector. You hope you never need it, but you're glad it's there. And if you've ever been blindsided by a letter or a hold on your payment, wouldn't you rather get the warning early? Let me set the tone because I know this topic can feel invasive. You're not crazy for feeling tense when you hear the word tracking, especially when your income depends on a system you don't control. My job here is to walk you through what this kind of update usually means, who it tends to apply to, and what you can do right now. No panic, no guessing games, just a clean map so you don't step on a landmine. And early on, I'm going to tease one small detail most people miss that changes everything for your situation. Here's what's at risk, and why you should stay to the end. Your risk is not being watched in some dramatic way. It's losing eligibility by accident, or triggering a review you weren't prepared for. This affects retirees, disabled adults, and families who manage benefits for someone else, especially if travel is involved. You'll learn how travel data can be used, what types of benefits are more sensitive to it, and how to protect yourself from fake, official videos. And at the end, I'll give you a simple set of actions to do today so you're not relying on memory later. Quick reset. The first thing you need is certainty about what check you actually receive. A lot of people say Social Security as a catch-all, but there are different programs under that umbrella, and they play by different rules. Some benefits are based on your work history, like the kind you earned by paying into the system. Other benefits are needs-based, meaning they look at your situation, your resources, and whether you still qualify. That one distinction is the tiny detail most people overlook, and it's the key to understanding the tracking talk. Now let's talk about what tracking usually means in government language. Most of the time, it's not a new spy program. It's a new data match. A data match is when an agency compares its records with another set of records to confirm something, like identity, location, or eligibility conditions. Travel records can be one of those data sources because when you leave and re-enter the country, that information may be logged somewhere official. So the question becomes, for which benefits does time outside the country matter enough that an agency would check it? Pause here because this is where rumors grab you by the collar. Some videos mash together different agencies, different benefit types, and different rules and then sell it like a single scary new law. That's how you end up with millions of people worrying, even though only a smaller slice actually needs to change behavior. The practical reason travel can matter is simple. Some benefits require you to meet residency or presence rules, or to report extended trips. So the policy shift isn't they're watching everyone, it's they're verifying compliance more efficiently for certain cases. Here's the myth versus the truth, in a way that actually helps you. The myth is, if you're retired or disabled, the government will track your trips and punish you for traveling. The truth is, most people who receive earned benefits can travel without triggering a special problem, but they still need to keep their contact info accurate. The group that should pay closer attention is the group whose eligibility depends on strict conditions that can change month to month. And that brings us back to the small detail most people miss: the name and type of benefit on your award letter. Let's make this concrete with a real lifestyle example using easy numbers, because this is where it stops being abstract. Imagine Rosa gets a needs-based payment of $800 a month because her income and resources are very limited. Her sister overseas gets sick, so Rosa leaves for 45 days thinking, "It's just family, I'll be back." If her program treats being outside the country over a certain number of days as a stopping point, then $800 for that month could be paused. That's not punishment. It's the program rules doing what they always did, just with better detection. Now a second example, because people don't just travel for vacations. Imagine Darren gets an earned disability benefit based on his work history, and his monthly check is $1,700. He goes abroad for 2 months to help his adult child move, then returns home, and nothing changes because his benefit type isn't tied to a needs test. But if Darren forgot to update his mailing address, missed a notice, and didn't respond to a routine form, his payment could still get snagged. So the vulnerability isn't travel equals trouble, it's missing communication equals trouble, especially when you're away from your mailbox. Let's do an attention reset, because we're about to get practical. If you remember nothing else, remember this. The system cares less about your plane ticket and more about whether your benefit rules require reporting. So step 1 is identifying your benefit category, not based on what a neighbor calls it, but based on the official language on your documents. If you manage benefits for a parent or a disabled adult child, this matters even more, because you're the one who has to keep records straight. And yes, the one small detail most people miss is still the centerpiece. Your program type controls your obligations. Here's how to figure it out without turning it into a research project. Look at the letters you've received and find the program name used consistently, not the nickname you've always used at home. If your benefit is tied to your work record, you usually see language about retirement, disability insurance, or survivor status based on earnings. If your benefit is needs-based, you'll often see language focused on eligibility reviews, resources, living arrangements, and reporting changes. If you're unsure, you don't guess. You confirm through official channels using the official phone number on your letter, not a number someone messages you. And here's the scam safety part, because scammers love confusion like this. Never share a one-time code with anyone, even if they claim they're verifying your identity for your benefits. Never click unknown links in texts or emails that say your check is on hold unless you initiated the contact and trust the path you used. Never trust caller ID because it can be faked. Hang up and call back using the official number from your own paperwork. When fear is the sales pitch, slow down, breathe, and verify before you act. So what does a tracking rule mean in practical life for the most affected group? It usually means travel can become easier for the agency to confirm, especially when someone is in a program where extended time outside the country changes eligibility. If you're in that situation, the safest move isn't to stop living your life. It's to plan travel with reporting in mind. Think of it like crossing a border with fruit in your bag. The rule isn't personal. It's just a condition that gets enforced. And that's why the change matters. Not because it's new behavior, but because it reduces the chance that non-reporting slips through. Let me give you your first stay-ahead checkpoint question right here. Have you personally confirmed which benefit program you're on by checking an official letter rather than relying on memory or a friend's wording? Now let's tackle the emotional core. Why does this feel like I'm being treated like a suspect? Because when a benefit is needs-based, the program is designed to constantly prove the need still exists, and that can feel personal. But the system isn't reading your mind, it's reading data points. The best way to protect your dignity is to understand what data points matter and make sure yours are accurate. You don't want a computer to assume something wrong about you because a record didn't update when your life changed. Here's the part people confuse, and it's why rumors spread so fast. They hear that one program has strict reporting requirements, and they assume all benefits work that way. Then they apply the strictest rule set to everyone, and suddenly every retiree thinks they have to ask permission to go visit family. That's not how it usually works, but it is how misinformation earns clicks. So when you see a viral claim, your first question shouldn't be, is this scary? It should be, which program are they actually talking about? Another attention reset, because this next part is where you take control. Let's talk about common mistakes people make, not because they're careless, but because nobody teaches this in a normal life. One mistake is not knowing the exact name of your benefit, so you don't realize which rules apply when you travel or move. Another mistake is assuming that if you told one office something, every connected system instantly updated, which is not always how bureaucracy behaves. And a third mistake is throwing away letters because they look repetitive, when one of them is the one that requests a response. Here are two more mistakes that quietly cause the biggest headaches. A fourth mistake is letting someone else help you by filling things out, but you never reviewing what was submitted in your name. A fifth mistake is ignoring the difference between a short trip and an extended stay, especially when the program has a cutoff where benefits pause. A sixth mistake is not keeping proof of your reports, like the date you called, who you spoke with, and what you were told, in case there's a dispute later. And a seventh mistake is reacting to a scary video by making a fast decision, like changing banking details, without verifying the claim first. Kindness to yourself here matters, because shame makes people hide problems instead of fixing them. Now I want you to see yourself in this, because the right advice depends on your situation. If this is you and you're a retiree on an earned benefit who travels occasionally, your main job is keeping your address, phone, and direct deposit secure and current. If this is you and you're on a needs-based benefit, your main job is understanding what events must be reported, including longer trips, changes in living arrangements, or changes in household support. If this is you and you manage benefits for someone else, your main job is building a simple record system so you can respond quickly if a notice shows up while you're busy. Different lives, different vulnerabilities, same goal, prevent surprise interruptions. Let's bring back that open loop with a fresh angle, because it matters. There's one tiny piece that decides whether this travel data talk is background noise or a real planning issue for you. It's not your age. It's not whether you're retired as a life stage. It's not whether you have a disability. It's whether your benefit is earned versus needs-based. Because needs-based programs often have strict eligibility checks built in. Keep that in your pocket, because we're going to use it to build your Do This Today plan in a minute. Here's a practical way to think about travel and benefits without turning it into a legal seminar. Ask, does my benefit require me to remain eligible based on my current circumstances, or is it based on my past earnings record? If it's the first kind, the agency may review you periodically and use data to confirm you still qualify, including data that suggests you were away for an extended time. If it's the second kind, travel usually isn't the trigger, but missing required communications can still cause delays. Either way, your best protection is accurate records, secure contact channels, and a calm response plan if you receive a notice. Second checkpoint question, and this one is about prevention, not fear. Would you rather find out about a potential issue from a short planning call before your trip, or from a surprise letter after a payment pauses? Let's talk about why governments like data matches, because it explains the why now, without spiraling into theories. Manual verification is slow, expensive, and inconsistent across offices and workers. A data match is fast, consistent, and it catches the cases that used to slip through until a later review. Sometimes that's frustrating for honest people because the net feels wider, but it also reduces fraud that drains resources from people who truly qualify. So when you hear expanded use of travel data, think expanded verification tool, not new surveillance mission. Now, a lot of viewers ask, so can they see everything I do? No agency needs to see your shopping list to confirm that someone was out of the country for a length of time that affects a specific eligibility rule. In most cases, what matters is the fact and timing of travel, not your personal behavior. And if anyone claims you must verify your benefits by giving them your login, your code, or your bank info, that's not policy, that's a trap. Your safety rule stays the same. You initiate contact using official information you already have. Another attention reset before we get into action steps. People lose money in this space in two ways: by not reporting what they were supposed to report, or by getting tricked into changing something because a scammer sounded confident. So we're going to build a two-layer defense: compliance habits and scam-proof habits. Compliance habits mean you know what to report and you keep proof that you reported it. Scam-proof habits mean you don't let urgency push you into revealing private information or clicking into danger. Let's pay off the open loop a little more, because this is where it becomes real. That one small detail isn't just a label. It determines what questions the system is allowed to ask. If you're on a needs-based program, the system is designed to recheck pieces of your life, including whether you meet location-related requirements. If you're on an earned program, the system usually doesn't need to retest your need the same way, but it still needs to know you're reachable and properly identified. So when you hear retired and disabled, don't let those words be the headline. Let your program type be the headline. Now let's do the Do This Today mini checklist. but in normal sentences like you'd tell a friend. Today, pull out one official letter and write down the exact program name and the date of the letter. Then store it where you can find it in 30 seconds. Today, confirm your mailing address and phone number on record are correct, because most payment problems start with missed communication. Today, decide who you trust as your backup person and tell them where you keep your key benefit papers in case you're hospitalized or traveling. Today, promise yourself one rule: no codes shared, no unknown links clicked, and no action taken because a stranger created urgency. Here's the third checkpoint question, and I'm asking it because it prevents regret. If a notice ever arrived while you were away, would you have a clear system for who checks it and how you respond in time? Now, I want to address the "but what about the future" concern, because it's reasonable. Policies can expand over time, and tools that start in one program can eventually be used elsewhere. That doesn't mean you should assume the worst. It means you should build habits that make expansion less scary. If your records are clean, your reporting is timely, and your contact info is accurate, most new verification tools become a non-event in your life. The goal is not to predict every change. It's to be ready no matter what changes. Let's revisit those two numeric examples because numbers reveal the real stakes. In Rosa's case, one extended trip could create a paused month, and if she continued receiving payments accidentally, that could turn into an overpayment. An overpayment is not just they stop paying. It can become they ask for repayment, which creates stress and paperwork. In Darren's case, travel didn't change eligibility, but missing a letter could still lead to a delay, and a delay can mean late rent or late medication. So your action isn't "don't travel," it's travel with a plan and a paper trail. Another attention reset, because we're closing in on the most useful part. When people say tracking, they picture being followed. In reality, the system is more boring and more dangerous. It's databases matching records, without context, unless you provide context. That's why your notes matter, your copies matter, and your habit of verifying matters. You don't need to outsmart the system. You just need to be organized enough that it can't misunderstand you. Let me add one more safety layer that doesn't get talked about enough. If you do need to call about travel, eligibility, or a notice, do it when you're calm, not when you're scared. Write down your questions first, because fear makes you forget what you meant to ask. Keep a small call log with dates and outcomes because it's hard to argue a memory, but easier to reference a written record. And if anyone pressures you to act immediately, treat that pressure itself as a warning sign. Now I'm going to pay off the open loop fully, and I want you to feel the relief in it. The one small detail most people miss is that the internet often uses Social Security as one bucket, but the rules that get enforced depend on the exact program. If you're not on the needs-based program that ties eligibility to ongoing conditions, this travel data expansion may not change your daily life at all. If you are on that needs-based program, the rule isn't new in spirit, but enforcement can become faster, so planning and reporting becomes more important. Either way, the best move is the same. Confirm your program type, then follow the rules that match it, not the rumors that don't. Here's a recap in clear words so you can carry it with you. The scary headline is tracking, but the real issue is verification, and verification mostly targets programs where eligibility depends on current conditions. Most earned benefit recipients aren't suddenly forbidden from traveling, but everyone should protect themselves from missed notices and from scammers using fear. If your benefit is needs-based, treat extended travel like a reportable life event and plan ahead so you don't get surprised by a pause. And no matter what you receive, keep your personal information locked down and always call back using the official number from your own paperwork. One final warning, and then I'll give you the hopeful line you deserve. If you let internet panic replace your own verification, you're handing control of your money to strangers who profit from your confusion. But the hopeful truth is, you can take control back in one afternoon by confirming your benefit type, tightening your communication habits, and refusing scam pressure. You don't have to fear a system you understand, and you don't have to obey a rumor you never verified. So tell me this, do you want a follow-up video where I walk through how to tell earned benefits from needs-based benefits just by reading your own letters?